So Mischelle Chandel in the house. Thank you so much for
Hello.
coming. How are you
Of
doing?
course. I feel like I live here, so might as well.
I feel like I live here. I know. I know. So I wanted to ask you what I asked Jordan last time. Just how do you like the brokerage? We've been here for about a year or so.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been a year.
I know.
Feels
I
like
know.
we just got here, but it's great. I mean, it's a bigger brokerage than what we're used to. You know, that
Yeah.
just means more.
Tell me how you really feel.
Wait.
No, but seriously though, it was a big change for all of us.
Yeah.
I think
course.
there are some pros and cons, mainly more pros. But with anything, there's always change, right?
For sure. And I mean, this is a Remax, which last time I was part of a Remax was back in 2017. And I remember there being a lot of resources then. And obviously they've kind of doubled down on that now
Right.
with the use of technology and AI and all these things that have been implemented since. So it's good.
Do you see a difference between this Remax and the previous Remax you were at?
In terms of,
Just overall, like, does it feel like does a Remax have a certain feel, or is it?
so that brokerage was a team. So they had a satellite office and it still felt like that small brokerage
Right.
within a bigger brokerage.
Right.
Whereas this is like we're sitting at Rexdale right now. It's the head office for Remax West and probably their biggest branch, obviously.
Right.
And, so yeah, in terms of the feel, it's different.
Same resources though, I guess, because Remax overall.
Yeah,
or,
for sure,
yeah.
sure. It's interesting though because you can be a part of a Remax and know that there's resources, but there are Remaxes out there that don't necessarily utilize it as much as others.
Right.
Obviously, Remax West does a great job with it. Remax Hallmark did an excellent job
Right.
with it as well.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like if you're gonna be a part of a brand, a bigger brand, you should own it and
Sure.
use their resources for sure.
Well, I think the brand itself is only a shell.
Right.
And you get XYZ with the brand and the branding and whatever tools they give you, but then what matters more is who is filling inside the rest of the brokerage, the managers, the admin,
sure.
the staff, the agents. That's always going to be different no matter what brokerage you're at, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, listen, if you go on a listing appointment, maybe they'll ask you what brokerage you're part of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when it comes to like recognizing a brand, I think that's why Remax is good because you look at a Remax logo and it's real estate.
Yeah.
Right?
There is brand power.
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought it was bullshit. But straight up, I thought it was bullshit. But I actually won a listing. I don't think it was the sole reason, but it was one of the main reasons
Yeah.
that I was a Remax agent, and they thought that I could be more trusted because there was a bigger brand behind me.
Right,
And
exactly.
that was pretty much his exact wording. So it worked for me. Although I didn't believe it when I first joined. Frank actually told me that I'll get more business if I'm a Remax agent. I'm like, okay, whatever, bro.
Yeah.
But it worked.
So sometimes your client will voice that that's the reason. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes it'll be more like subconscious. They might not just say like, it's like the Remax brand and like the fact that I see it around is the reason why. It's great that your client vocalized that to you and said like,
It's true that it's subconscious because when I was at Royal Page, my dad would always be like, "Oh, you're a Remax agent, right?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, because parents always remember everything about you, don't they?
I know. But it's not the first time I've heard that where it's like, "Oh, they just assume."
Yeah.
And you could be from a complete Royal LePage, Remax with the R's. I could see it, but like you could be like a home life agent, and they might think you're a Remax agent.
I mean, I again, we're in the industry, so we'll never really be able to like as a third party understand what the difference might be. But we're like Royal LePage, for example, I consider that a powerful brand as well.
Oh,
It's
it is.
Canadian,
It
which
is.
is great.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Royal LePages, but at the end of the day, when it comes down to stats, like Remax kind of wins, right?
Yeah, they win.
Yeah.
Yeah, the resources, management, you could have that anywhere, but I think what makes Remax West is the people inside of it. We have good managers, we have good team leads, we have just people gunning for us.
Yeah, and that's important because sometimes, a lot of the times the industry can get tough. It's just nice to know that
Oh yeah.
we're not
Especially
in it
last year.
alone and everyone kind of goes through it and goes through the motions and having like good guidance is so important.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah. That's a good segue because I wanted to get into market stats, but before we do that, I was just gonna say maybe we'll touch upon last year. Last year was tough, right?
Yeah, of course.
A lot of people were struggling, not just us agents, just people in general, the economy, people having issues putting food on the table, day-to-day uncertainty, scarcity. How was your year?
Tough. I mean, we work together, it. We have colleagues we work together with,
Yeah.
and it's something that we kind of try to bounce ideas and see how we can get better and grow. And, like we talk to Jordan and we try to understand like his mindset when it comes to it and how to deal with challenging clients and scenarios. And that's the best thing about being a part of a team, right?
Yeah, I don't think we've had as many tough conversations
Yeah.
as we had last year than overall.
Yeah, we had this conversation. We were talking about opportunity,
did,
right?
yeah.
And we always try to think about how we can be better, or like what we're doing maybe at a level lower than what we could be doing. And I don't think that was necessarily the case last year. I think it was more so, it was just, I'm not going to sit there and advise, my client to lose money if they don't need to, right? So it's more so building the pipeline was a lot of last year.
Yeah, I think we subscribe to the mentality of we want to be your lifetime agent.
For sure.
We don't just want to be a one and done transaction. We've talked to way too many clients or potential clients that feel like they were burned by their previous agent. And that's not our goal. For example, we had the listing appointment. She bought pre-construction. Long story short, she bought pre-construction from an agent. Everything was great. When they signed the paperwork, agent got paid commission. It was pre-construction. Long story short, which is true with most pre-construction buys in the last few years, especially in the hot market. Unfortunately, it's worth less than what was initially purchased for. In this particular situation, it was even worse, where the deposit was not met fully. I think only half the deposit was made,
Yeah,
and
that's
she
really
was still
tough.
owing more. So it was one of those situations where she was reaching out to her agent that had facilitated the deal. They were very responsive in the beginning, but now gone. Wash their hands.
Can I be honest with everyone? I saw a reel. It was two agents sitting down and talking about buyers that bought pre-construction,
Right.
and that it was the buyer's fault, and nobody put a gun to their head, and they're the ones who stood out in the cold in the lineups to get this allocation. It's not the builder's fault, which it isn't the builder's fault, but the agent advising the client, I think probably need to do a little bit more research as opposed to like putting so much pressure. Whereas like that client that we went to go visit, that agent was very clearly just about getting the
Themselves.
commission,
Yeah.
which is just awful. We could have done that a lot of times
Could have,
last year.
Yeah. It's not anyone's fault specifically. It was a situation in the hot market. Everything was going up. We were seeing prices 30, 40, 50,000 increase per month. It was insane. So in the moment, yes, it seemed like things could only go up. Unfortunately, now we know that's not true. But I would like to think if I was an agent negotiating with my buyer client, and I did have some of those conversations, but I didn't really delve too much in the pre-construction. I always thought, especially nowadays, it's a little bit not the best deal. They're kind of projecting future value
Right.
and getting you to pay it today, whereas before it was a little bit more, you buy it at today's price, and then by the time it's built a few years down the road, you make some money. That's what I would have liked, but for me now, pre-con doesn't make sense. But I would have liked to say at least, okay, the customer's always right. They want to buy this product. I think all that really needed to happen with that agent or any agent, say, listen, these are the pros and cons. Yes, it may increase in value, but we're also in a very hot market. Things could go south. They just need to be aware. I think that's the problem. I think a lot of clients
Exactly.
were not made aware of the potential downside. It was
Yeah.
always like, it's 100%, 100%. Nothing, there's no guarantees in life.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. Your client needs to be informed.
Absolutely. Like
That's our
that's
job.
fine if they're willing to spend X amount on,
Yeah.
it's their asset at the end of the day. It's
But as
their
long as they
decision.
know.
Yeah, of course. They should be made aware. I don't think there's a 100% guaranteed anything in life.
No guarantees in life.
Right. So I've also been a huge believer that, things go up, they go down. That's just how it is. I never truly genuinely thought that it would just keep going up. I mean, obviously history has shown that property values do go up over time, but it was just not, it just made no sense.
Yeah,
the
not
rate,
that level of increase.
Yeah. It was just, it made sense for there to be a cool down and
Sure.
then therefore a recovery after.
Especially when it's outpacing wages, like $50,000 increase a month.
Yeah. Honestly, it hurts my heart. A lot of people went in over their heads, and
Terrible.
the stories I've heard since then are heartbreaking. Couldn't even imagine myself being in the situation or putting my client in that situation, right?
I know it's hard. It's hard. Definitely hard. But
Yeah. If
life.
you're lucky in the sense that you're able to hold right now, if you were one of those buyers then, That's kind of what we've been advising, and I would continue to do so.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. So if you're listening to this and you're in that situation where you feel like you're in over your head, it doesn't even have to be pre-construction. Say you bought a freehold property or something resale, condo or freehold in the hot market, and you're struggling to make payments, thinking about selling, taking a loss. We would say if you can hold, do your best to hold it, because you're not going to recover from that loss. It's just math. You're not going to recover from the
Okay,
loss.
then that poses the question: what if you're not in a position to hold it?
If you're not in a position to hold it, then unfortunately you might have to just bite the bullet and sell it and cut your losses.
As full service high value agents, it makes our job difficult too, right? Because if we're trying to service a product, obviously not pre-construction, but something that maybe needs services done to it, not only is this person now maybe taking a loss, it's also that we can't offer the services that we normally do.
Right, because they can't pay for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I would still argue, though, that even though it looks bleak, you would still be better off, because what we do is we net you more.
Right.
We can net you more. That's the whole point of offering those additional services.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're still in a deficit, but we can't guarantee, but we bet you that we will still be able to net you more. You'll spend more on commission per se, but we'll still net you more. So really, it's more than a wash. It's a gain for you.
It's a gain, yeah.
Yeah.
It might not be like an incredible, but it still is.
You're still going to take an L, unfortunately, if the math is what it is, but it'll be minimized. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's true. But then you have like I'm just playing devil's advocate. Now you have like sellers, for example, that say, well, I can do all these things, so why don't I do those things, and then I can gain, and I'm still going to use 1% agent and all, like,
Sure. So actually, just had a breakfast meeting with our Oak Ridge's office, and Dawn, our manager, actually posed that exact same question. What do you say to that? And one of our new agents, brilliant agent, she said this. I'm curious your thoughts. So she said, okay, what's the difference? Because we also had a for sale by owner say the same thing to me. I'm already listed on MLS. I already have access to all the agents and all the buyers. So what can you do for me? So her response would be, so, okay, you have a vending machine with products, with chocolate bars, vending machine just in the corner. And if you walk up to it, you're depending on someone walking up to it, hungry, buying the chocolate bar. Are you going to get more value and more sales and more price if you just have that vending machine, not actively marketing itself, its product? Or would you get more value and more profit and more price if you actually had a physical salesperson that's their sole job is to advertise and promote the product and to push people to buy your product, or at least be interested in the product? Which method do you think will get more sales or more revenue or higher price? So that, for me, that's a compelling argument.
Yeah.
When you're trying to sell it by yourself, you have a life, work, kids, family obligations. How is it possible if someone wants to see the property, you get a call, someone wants to see the property at 7:00 at night, but you have to take your kid to hockey practice, or you have to stay late at work? How's that going to work? You're going to miss that potential opportunity. That buyer's going to go somewhere else. There's a lot of inventory right now. The buyer's going to go somewhere else, and he's going to go where he's wanted. You also have to know how to talk to people. We see a lot of for sale by owners, they're frustrated, they're tired, they don't have time to deal with you, or if they're very short, you make one bad representation of yourself or the property and it's over. They'll move forward.
Yeah, I think a lot of sellers think that, they're the best advocate for their asset because they
Sure.
know the product and they know that what they put into it, but people don't realize that they're like, you need to have someone that's away from all of that, making the sound decisions, because there's sentiment involved, there's biases involved,
Too much emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you need a third party. Like if I disclosed a quarter of the things that potential clients have said to me to the other side, the deal would have been dead a long time ago.
What do we talk about all the time? Like, what is the biggest thing we look for in sellers is motivation. So now if the seller's directly talking to the buyer, you can sense motivation through tone. Mm-hmm. You can sense it through so many things.
Yeah. Well, going back to the for sale by owner, what happens if you're trying to sell your house by yourself and I come see your home and I make a comment, I don't like the sheets that you use, or I don't like the drapes, the window coverings. What if you get offended?
Yeah.
We've had it happen.
Yeah.
You get offended, and then you get into an argument with your potential buyer. He's walking out the door, and he's going to go somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in this climate right now, if you have an interested buyer,
Yeah.
you should be doing everything in your power if they're willing to.
And that's what I think some people don't understand about our industry. That's our goal, to bring you offers to market your property to get the most eyeballs on your property. And we do that in certain ways, which we'll talk about later. But
Yeah, of course. There's properties selling for great money right now.
Oh, yeah.
But you can tell the difference between that property and something that's maybe sitting on the market. It is very clear. There's an agent involved. It has been serviced. It is priced well. There's so many factors that go into.
there's so many factors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, let's go into this market stats, because every month Treb comes out with market stats. So this is for December. So the average selling price for all home types combined was $1.117 million, $1,117,600 in 2024, representing a decline of less than 1% compared to the 2023 average of 1.126 million.
Sorry, which geographic location is representing?
So this is all of so this is GTA.
Okay, all the
Okay, so Treb, Vaughan, Markham, Richmond Hill, Brampton, Simcoe, all those areas.
Okay.
So GTA home sales amounted to 3,359 in December 2024, down slightly from December 2023. New listings were up over the same period, continuing the trend of a well-supplied market. Going back to what we said, a lot of supply. Okay. I want to go to the one where it was talking about. So here we go. Market conditions varied by market segment in 2024. Sales of single-family homes, including detached houses, increased last year, whereas condo apartment sales were down.
Right.
So nothing new here. Many would-be first-time home buyers remained on the sidelines, anticipating more interest rate relief in 2025. The lack of first-time home buyers, I think this part's important, the lack of first-time home buyers impacted the less expensive condo segment more so than the single-family segment. So the price declines as a result were more notable for condo apartments, which just makes sense.
I mean, first-time home buyers, that's usually like the first jump in.
Stepping stone,
Yeah,
right?
it's a stepping stone.
Like the average price for a condo apartment in the 905 was $616,000 and $719,000 in the 416, compared to a detached or even a townhouse, the next step up, $900,000 and $913,000 respectively. So that's 6, 7, 8, that's a $300,000 jump.
Why do you think first-time home buyers aren't using the condo kind of market as a stepping stone like they were before?
I think
Because that's what that article's suggesting.
it's suggesting, I think, because I don't know if that's the exact reason, although you could argue maybe the gap is not large enough to make sense. Maybe they're trying to save a little bit more and buy that. But there's based off these stats, on average, there's a $300,000 gap, $200,000 to $300,000 gap between a condo and a townhome.
It also says that first-time home buyers are on the sidelines in anticipation of rates dropping.
Yes, that's what I think is the bigger factor.
I know, but see, that's another.
If you're not getting
tricky
into the
thing.
market, you're not buying the first-time home buyer category, which is normally a condo.
If
or
I was a
something smaller.
first-time home buyer,
Yeah.
right now,
What would you do?
today, I personally wouldn't wait for a couple more drops to purchase a home, because
No.
what happens? What happens when the rates go down? Prices go up.
Well, you're trying to time the market, which you can't.
You can't do that.
No.
You could buy a beautiful, freehold townhouse in the GTA for $900K right now, maybe
Mm-hmm.
lock in a rate 4%. I'd rather that than buy something for 1.2 and my rates may be slightly less.
Right. No, exactly. And and that rate's negotiable, right? You can always.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't notice. If you buy something today and you close in 3-4 months, you can negotiate the rate right up until the day of closing.
So that's
the
a
day
good
before.
loop. Not that it's a loophole, but it's just a strategy.
Yeah.
And if you have a seller that's willing to wait for a longer close,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather secure that price and then snatch my rate prior to closing.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's a great idea for people that may be
Yeah.
looking for getting into the market as a first-time home buyer and maybe not buying a condo per se. It works for a condo too.
Yeah.
Right.
But honestly, now freehold. Okay, in this last stat, it's important to maybe
Sorry.
highlight that December. No, it's okay. No, just December. It's December, but year over year. So they'll do next month. We'll do January. It's always a month behind. So December in theory is a slower month, but the last 2 or 3 months of market stats showing an uptick by 1 or 2% for freehold properties. So my point is, what I said to Jordan last time is freehold has started showing signs of recovery. Condos have still not shown signs yet, but the gap is not that much. It's a 1% decrease year over year on average, lumping everything in. So It's coming. As soon as I feel personally, as soon as the inventory clears up, we'll start to see an increase again in good condos, good products, good location, good layout. None of that nonsense where it's a shoebox for a bedroom and your closet is the size of,
There are plenty of those on the market right now.
Plenty of those on the market. Yeah. But I would say it's a good time to buy any product, but especially condo. If you really are obsessed about trying to time it, which we don't think you can get it. Like you can get it on the way. So like we're on the way down for condos, but we're bottoming out.
Yes.
So I would say just if you find the right product, you're looking, if you find the right product, it's the condo for you, just snatch it up. There's no delay. Just snatch it up. Freehold, you want to wait, it's up to you, but I think it's a good time to buy freehold too. If it's the right product.
Honestly, it's a great time to buy.
It's a good time to buy.
It has been, I'd argue, for a bit now, and it will be, I think, up until prices increase. In my opinion, obviously, we don't have a crystal ball, probably towards the end of the year, early 2026.
Yeah. And listen, I mean, I think that's a critique on agents is, you're always saying, Matthew, you're always saying it's a good time to buy, it's always a good time to sell. No.
Honestly, I personally get tired of myself saying it, but it's like it's a statement, but there's so much that goes behind that statement.
But no, like, let's be fair. It's a good time. I'll be clear. I think it's a good time to buy any product right now, especially condo. In terms of selling, I don't think it's the absolute best time to sell right now. I think you should, if you can't wait, that's a different story. If you absolutely must sell, then sure, we can have a conversation. We'll get you top dollar in this current market. But if you can wait, I think you need to wait for the spring market. And I think that's an honest opinion.
Yeah.
Wait till the spring market. When things naturally pick up historically, that's what happens.
Of course.
The spring market. No one wants to move right now. Rates will be a little bit lower, hopefully. And there you're in a position to make top dollar through ways that we'll talk about how we do that.
Yeah.
But that's what I think. I don't think it's a great time to sell right now. I think it's a good time to buy. So
I agree.
I'm not talking out of my butt.
No, you're good. You're good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll touch upon this one more time. So detached. Let's just do detached in comparison. Average price in the 416, 1.6 million. 905, 1.3 million. Interesting. Semi-detached, 1.3 for 416, and 953,000 905. Interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the area. I mean, I don't know. 905, I really haven't seen a semi-detached for 950.
905 is like Durham region, is the Peel region.
Yeah.
I think the York region falls under 905. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, York region for sure.
Yeah, I always get confused.
Yeah, York region, yeah. So.
Yeah, and then Toronto's just one of those, like, very, like, fast to recover type of situation.
Yeah. I don't think you can go wrong in the city if you're comfortable ponying up the double land transfer tax. In the long run, it's probably worthwhile.
Yeah.
But.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
When do you think the condo market will recover? I asked Jordan this. I'm curious to know your opinion.
I obviously watched the podcast with you and Jordan, and I mentioned earlier I do like the idea of the gap. Like, you know what's interesting? Prices depend on what the seller is willing to let it go for.
Seller motivation is key right now.
Right?
It's always key, but now more than ever.
Whatever the seller is willing to let the condo go for is what the value is going to be at the end of the day. That is the truth, right? Yeah. So if you bought a condo for, I don't know, like 7-8, and you need to sell it for 7-8 to break even, like, I'd rather opt for a freehold property at that point, right? As a buyer, right? Do you want to see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the problem is we just came through, because we see a lot of home evaluation requests come in where you bought the property in 2020, 2021, early 2022.
Yeah.
And, now it's worth pretty much the same.
Condos have always been very slow in terms of their value increasing through time. Like, even in a regular, let's call it a quote unquote balanced market, what people saw back in 2020, 2021 and what was happening to condos, I think the real question is, when is that going to happen again? 10 years. I don't think
that's going to happen for any market, condo or freehold. I think it's just going to resume a slow increase, maybe a 2 to 5% year over year increase eventually when it does recover. But to what I think the answer to that question is, I think as soon as the supply starts returning to normal, I think the last stat is we have double or triple the amount of inventory for condos.
I don't see that happening anytime soon. I think there's going to be a huge condo supply for a long time.
I don't think you're wrong. I've heard projections of 2 to 5 years, 3 to 5 years. That's why I say to clients, if you're buying a condo, totally fine. Just be prepared. That's going back to having that conversation with them. It's not all roses and peaches and, fun and games. It's just be prepared for the worst case. So be prepared to hold it for 3 to 5 years.
Yes.
Just be prepared. As long as you're prepared, you can weather the storm if there is one.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, I don't even like talking about the best case scenario because it's irrelevant. You plan for the worst case scenario. And then if you always plan for the worst case scenario, then you're obviously almost always going to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. If you're buying a condo right now to live in it and, you're starting a family, this and that, and your horizon is between 3 and 5 years, perfect. No problem. If you're buying it for an investment, that's also not a problem. Rent it out. Hopefully you're making some cash flow and just like kind of weather the storm, right?
But buy a good product.
Yes, that's so important. In a good location.
Yes,
location
location is
you
key.
Can't change.
No. Location is key. But even within said location, your layout really matters. There's a lot of botched condo jobs. You need to find a good layout.
Layout is everything.
If there's one, even two in the same building, but one has a crappier layout and cheaper, one has the better layout and more expensive, if it was me personally and advising clients, I would say go for the more expensive one with the better layout. We'll try and negotiate a better deal. But if you have to pay more for it, get it. Because in the long run, it'll make that deal. Because, layout matters. We see even with freehold, 2,000 square feet in one home might seem tiny compared to another home in just terms of the layout.
Yeah. And obviously that is something you can change, not easily, however. So,
No, there's some things you can't change.
Yeah, some things you can, right?
Yeah.
That's a big one. Location, layout, size.
Yeah. Also, I wanted to make a touch on, because I feel like I don't understand why no one talks about this, but the media, you need to be careful when the media shows these market stats or talks about them, because they will talk about sales. They'll say sales are down or sales are up, but they're not talking about price. I think people conflate it with price. The number of sales, just the number of transactions.
Correct.
Like 50 homes have sold versus 45 last year, just for example, or 60 versus 50. So there's an increase. That has nothing to do with the price. So sometimes I really feel like the media, I don't know why, they focus on the number of sales and they make a big deal of the number of sales. I mean, it matters, but the price matters most to me, at least. Like the average price matters.
I think when they talk about sales, they're talking about movement.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think their
price definitely matters more.
Yeah, price definitely matters more. I don't know why they pitch it that way. And then if you listen long enough, sometimes they'll talk about price, but they mainly focus on, I don't know.
It's like that chance of rain, remember?
Yeah, chance of rain.
That's it.
Yeah.
Confusing.
So given all that, what do you think your market prediction is for this year? How do you think it's going to do? We were just talking to Jordan. So Remax is predicting we're going to have around 76,000 sales this year.
Which is up about 10,000 sales from the previous year.
Yeah, last year we had 67,000 sales, which is down, historically speaking. Like, just to put in perspective, in the hot market, it was like over 100,000 sales.
Yeah.
But this year we're predicting 76,000. I think they're predicting that because of the further interest rate drops, and the spring market looks promising.
People that have been waiting to list, for example, waiting to buy. Yep.
90% of our conversations with prospects they're waiting for this year. So
yeah. I mean, hopefully it is the year. If I feel like it's not, when a client reaches out to me,
we'll see,
I kind of have to. I feel like I need to gauge. Then I would push it to the following year, right?
Of course.
Like, it needs to make sense.
Well, anytime you reach out to us and you ask for a home evaluation, which we do for free, we will always see if it makes sense for you. We'll see what it was purchased for, what the current market is now, and there has to be enough, meat on that bone to make sense, right?
Yeah, and it has to also do with your situation, right? Mm-hmm. We have to assess that too.
Listen, if you have to sell, you have to sell. Yeah. It is what it is. But
we end up wearing a lot of hats in the end.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think people realize that either. I think it's so important to be transparent with your realtor. It's like any other professional that you would use for anything, really.
We go even beyond, because we get into, it's such a personal thing, especially residential real estate. It's such a personal asset. You grow up in it, you raise your family in it, you have arguments in it, you have good times, you have bad times.
There's a lot.
A lot of memories are made and emotions run high, especially if you didn't want to sell, or even if you do want to sell, right?
Yeah, and then there's the financial aspect of it, right? It's a touchy subject, people's finances. So
we always sit down and, go over the math. Does it make sense? We have that net sales sheet for a reason. We go over all your expenses, what it's going to cost you, what you're going to take home, right? And just going back to, why would I hire an agent versus doing it myself? we will do more for you. We will net you more. You might have, we charge for it, but we will net you more.
I also think it's really important for homeowners to interview agents, even if you do plan on listing it yourself in the end.
See what we have to offer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think you should always interview 3-4 agents.
Sure. And that's the beauty of our industry. No one does it the same.
No, you'd be surprised, and it's a learning experience.
Some don't do anything
as well.
at all.
Yeah, and we love a challenge.
We love a challenge. So we love a challenge. I think it's safe to say that there are very few agents that do what we do.
Yeah.
And Jordan included. We do a lot for the client. We have different commission packages for that reason. We understand that not every home is not the same. It's not a cookie cutter approach. That's why when you ask for a free home evaluation, we come into the home, we see it with our own eyes, we ask the questions, we see what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done. We see what you're comfortable doing, what we're comfortable doing. We have those service people that are ready to go. We were talking about that the other day with Jordan. It makes a difference. You need to have these people ready to go. You need to be able to trust their work. We're trying to get you top dollar. That's how you get top dollar in any market. But especially in this market, you want to squeeze out every last dollar. You need to be doing things properly.
Yeah.
And when it's not going to be happening by just posting it on Kijiji or even doing a mere posting. Doing a mere posting, because that's the argument too. I pay a flat fee, I don't know, $5,500 just going on MLS. But people can see the unprofessionalism. It just
speaks
doesn't work
to your
out.
motivation, right?
It speaks to your motivation.
Yeah. You need to have a good product out there like any other product, you know? That's what it is. But
if you're truly motivated to sell your property and you have a good reason to and you need to, then you should trust a professional. 95% of Canadians list or buy through a real estate agent. So it's either 95% of Canadians are stupid or they know what's up.
yeah, exactly. And when you're talking to us, you're not just talking to, any agent. We also own homes and we're running a business.
Yeah.
So we understand what it takes as well, right? It's years of experience just with business in general. So it's not like, we're out here rookies. We've been through it all.
No, I know. And it's, especially when you're dealing with, to your point about interviewing different agents, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't see what's out there, because this is not a $25 asset. These are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, tens of $1 million assets. The average home price is $1 million.
Yep.
You can't trust that to anyone. And maybe I'm not the right agent for you. Maybe Michelle's not the right agent for you. But at least find the right agent for you.
Exactly.
And ask what they're going to do for you. If they're not coming prepared to a listing presentation or even a buyer presentation, if they're not answering your questions, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
There are not that many questions.
Something that
They're all the same answers.
Something that you and I will do, Matthew, is
Yeah.
for example, if we go on a listing appointment, we always have past clients ready for us to call in front of the seller, or we'll just pass over the information to the seller.
Yeah, call in your own time.
It's like a job, right? I'm applying for a job,
Yeah.
and jobs usually have references.
Yes.
So, and the same goes for us.
Yeah, we treat every listing or purchase as the opportunity to work with you, as a privilege to work with you, and we need to earn that respect. It's a two-way street, but especially we're coming into your home. Most of the time, new clients don't know us. We need to earn your respect and earn your business. So we are always love the opportunity to earn someone's business,
Absolutely.
rather than you just picking me because I'm doing it almost for free.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that comes down to it. We have a lot of conversations. There are certain agents in this industry that everyone has their own business model. That's the beautiful thing about this business. But there's pros and cons. If you want a discount agent, that's fine. But you need to understand that they're operating off of volume. They're operating off of volume. So
What happens when you have a lot of volume at a discount rate?
Quality goes down.
Yeah.
It just has
Communication
to.
lacks.
It would happen to me too if I did that. Just there's only so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
communication
Start delegating.
lacks.
You don't necessarily know if you at the end of the day, if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself, or you really need to have a team that you trust, right?
Of course.
So there's that too.
Yeah. But I think the first thing that fails usually in a volume-based business is communication.
That's huge.
And it's huge in this business. We have heard a lot of complaints. That's probably the number one complaint we've heard from a quote-unquote discount agent. That's not to knock them, but just the communication is not there. And I don't blame them, frankly. If you have, 100 clients to deal with, 100 listings, because that's what you need to survive, because you're charging
How can
1%.
you focus just on one? Yeah.
How can you focus just on one? Or when you are, it's, very sporadic. Actually, I remember years ago, before I got my license, I had a friend that was they were selling their condo, and I was actually in the process of doing the real estate schooling, and I was getting calls from them. They were asking me questions, and I'm like, I have no problem. It was
My
good practice, right? No, but honestly, I was a student at the time. It was years ago, but I didn't mind it because it was like helping me apply my knowledge. But then I'm just like, as a side note, I'm like, hey, why are you asking me? Don't you have an agent for this?
Yeah.
That's experience. Like, I was fresh at the time. I didn't even have my license yet. So why are you trusting my opinion, or why are you asking me for resources? And the answer was, oh, they don't respond to us. They don't get back to us. And
I hear that fairly often, and it just blows my mind. You know,
not get back to your client.
Yeah. Or even when we're doing transactions too, and we're trying to reach the agent on the other side. How many times do we have a client ready to go? I'm so confused as to why agents don't advertise their phone number.
If you're a ghost agent, just take it off the market, please. You're doing your client a disservice. If I can't get a hold of you, if you have a legitimate excuse for why your number should not be on the listing, which
no, there is no excuse. Get a business line. Have a personal line, have a business line.
Yeah.
If you don't want to attend to your business, at least have something that's not the office.
At the very least, if I have to call the office and page you, call me back. It's not that hard. That's like 101. How can you tell your client you're working for them if you can't return a phone call from a prospective buyer?
It makes us look bad too, right?
Oh, it makes the whole industry look bad.
It goes full circle, unfortunately, with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So please let go of your listing, or just take it off the market if you're going to be like that. Because and then so many times they call agents, they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Builders, you too, by the way.
Oh, those are probably the worst, but anyways.
We're trying to call you. You don't answer.
You don't answer. Well, they have their own internal salespeople, and how that is. But,
yeah, I know. But
well, okay, let's not get sued. So, I think we talked about how to get top dollar. Maybe we can delve a little bit more into how does one get top dollar. How do you think you get top dollar as a seller? Say you're a seller right now. You're thinking about getting started, whether through an agent or you already have an agent or whatever. What should
I think
we be
top
doing?
Dollar can be relative. Like, first of all, you have to look at the market climate, right?
Yeah, but how can you get the most amount of money for your specific home? What needs to be done? What do we
I would put myself in like the buyer's shoes, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you were a buyer and you were looking to purchase this home, what would you expect from it?
If I was a buyer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. If you're a seller,
Yeah.
right, and
Yeah.
you turn the tables and acted as a buyer for your property, what would you expect to see in it?
I would expect the property to be well kept, well maintained, professionally cleaned. If I want to go see it, like, it should be. It doesn't have to be vacant, but it should feel vacant in the sense that I should be able to book a showing whenever I need to.
Depersonalized.
Yeah, depersonalized. But like, if I need to go see it at 9:00 at night, please allow the showing. Like, I need to be able to see it.
Yeah, you don't know how people's schedules are.
I think a lot of people don't realize the power of staging.
Oh my God, that is it's so incredibly insane to me, because you will have this absolutely stunning product, right? Like, the bones are good, it is clean, it is so well kept, but it's vacant, and like the world of a difference with a stage job. And I mean, we have the best stager ever.
We shout out to Donna.
Yeah, Donna. We will always shout you out. You like her eye for things and placement, and these are things that matter. They're subconscious things that matter.
She is the only stager that is allowed to stage our properties, and if she is not available, then
I cry.
We will wait for her to come back.
Yeah,
I'm actually trying to get her to come on the podcast. She doesn't want to, so Donna, we love you.
Yeah.
Please come on the podcast. Okay. But no, it's important, and not every stage job is the right stage job. You need to actually there's staging, and then there's staging.
Yes.
What Donna does.
Like,
that's
utilizing
a full
the
stage
space
job. Yeah.
and like highlighting maybe things you wouldn't notice in a vacant property, and just like the color of the floors matching the furniture. You have to envision yourself in the home.
Yeah, because there are some people that use these like you pay per product, like it's like a la
rental
carte.
companies,
Yeah, it's a
yeah.
rental a la carte where you buy you rent a chair, or you rent a desk, you rent a table. But
I don't think that's feasible. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
first of all, it adds up, but it's not the whole picture. Like when we get our stager in there, Donna, she does the whole thing. It's from A to Z. It's not just the furniture. It's the plants. It's the lighting,
Smallest details,
the
yeah.
little details, everything, the artwork, everything comes together.
Yes.
And she has a vision for it. She has an eye. Just like how we preach that you should reach out to professionals to sell your property, we also reach out to professionals to complete those items.
Yeah, and we have a relationship with these service companies
Yeah.
too, right? So a lot of the times we'll get clients say, "Well, I want to use my service company."
Right. But we don't know their work. Yeah.
Exactly.
We had an
So-
experience like that recently. Yeah.
And we also have everything in schedule in unison. It's a
Right.
process. There's like the market changes all the time. It needs to be up by a certain date. Like there's so much involved in it. So we like to let our clients know at listing appointments, your job is to go to work, do what you do.
Yeah.
And don't worry about it. We have it handled. We'll give you the whole timeline. And the next time I want to see you is when I'm getting you top dollar.
Yeah. Just give us access to the property and we'll do the rest.
Exactly.
And just
And that's what a full service is. You're not getting that with a $500 flat fee.
No.
Like exposure is important, but not if you don't have anything to expose. Like you would just have these
Yeah.
flip phone photos.
No. Yeah. Yeah. It's surprising that there's still flip phone photos because there are no flip phones anymore. But
Yeah, and we
still.
offer everything. Like we've been in listen, everyone lives differently, but we've been in hoarders' dream homes, and we've
we've
done
converted it.
everything, absolutely everything.
Honestly, borderline God's work.
Yeah, I've had
God's
clients that decided to sell that didn't really necessarily know where they're going to move, had a bunch of junk they got to throw out. We offer that. Remax has incentives with service companies as well. Like there's just so much that we have to offer.
I think the beauty is we put a plan together. Like right from the listing appointment, we make a custom sheet. It's called the marketing timeline, and it shows from the first step onwards what's happening, XYZ, so you can expect. Usually after the marketing agreement, we have our staging consultation in there. Donna will come, see the properties, what needs to be done, what needs to go. This way the seller can do that. If we're doing painting, painter comes in for a consultation. If we're a cleaner is standard in all our packages, so usually the cleaner will come at the very last, but we'll do the painting, whatever, light fixtures, stager comes in, cleaning, professional photography, video.
And it's all in sequence,
all
and
in
we make
sequence.
sure we communicate everything from beginning to end, which
So you
again
know
is so
exactly.
important.
So you know exactly what's going on, when it's happening, and if there's any changes, we're always in constant contact. We also get to know your needs that way too. We don't just slap on this because you don't need it. If you need it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. We do other things.
Yep.
Like for example,
We do light fixtures.
light fixtures.
That's also so important.
Yes.
The type of light, the lumens. Like right now we have ring lights, and the lumens can change, but it makes the world
The
a bit
brightness, the shade.
different. The type of home you have. If you have more of a rustic home, then
Yeah.
we get fixtures to cater to that. If it's more modern, there's so much.
And sometimes you might not need that. If you just did all your light fixtures and they're great, then fine. For example, I had a client that didn't need that, so they had a problem with like pest control. So we got rid of that. We solved that problem for them.
Yep.
Not every property is the same.
Yep.
You need different things, right?
Yeah. We will do whatever it takes to get you top dollar,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what high value full service agents do.
Right.
And I'm never looking to bend, really.
No. We try not to. It just doesn't make sense for you. You're doing yourself a disservice. My manager Don likes to say is, if I can, we charge a little bit more than most agents, to be honest, but we net you more. So if I can net you more, and essentially have the buyer side pay for that extra fee that we're charging, that incentive that we're charging, what's it to you? You're gonna net more.
I've
It's
never had
win-win.
a client say it wasn't worth it.
No.
Ever. Ever.
Because they see the before and after. It's like night and day, right?
Yeah. My clients say I don't even want to move.
Yeah.
Well,
No. No, and to be fair, some people just naturally live that way, but to be fair, it's hard. Most people don't. I definitely don't. Maybe you do, but I don't live that way where it's like showroom ready, but that's the type of level that you have to get your property to be, you know.
Yeah.
You're trying to get as many eyeballs on it. That's the big thing about marketing right now. It's mainly online. You need as many eyeballs on that property as possible. So then when they do book a showing, it's people that are actually serious.
Yeah.
Everyone does their shopping online now.
Absolutely. You
And
need
homes
to
is
look
no different.
attractive online.
Yeah. You need
Otherwise,
to-
I'm not coming through the front door.
Exactly. What's the point? It looks like shit
Yeah.
online. It's not going to look any better in person. So
Yeah. I think another good thing about being an active agent is not only are we able to then provide a full service, but we're also constantly working with buyers as well.
yeah.
Right. So we do have that incentive that if we have buyers in that area, we can bring them through, maybe, we'll offer collateral or offer some sort of incentive. So that's a really important thing about working with agents like us as well.
Yeah. Since we think let's practice what we preach, it's a good time to buy. So let's focus a little bit on buyers.
Yeah.
What's your advice, your first piece of advice to buyers, especially first time home buyers, a little bit scared about getting their feet wet? What's the first step, would you say?
Get pre-approved.
Yes. Why?
Well, I feel like a lot of people can, they think, and you can do the math yourself and, take your savings and your liabilities and kind of figure out a number which you can afford. You'd be surprised. Sometimes you get pre-approved and you can afford much more or much less.
Yeah.
Right? So that's really important. It's like anything else, just like we're professionals, mortgage agents are as well. They know exactly what they're doing. So that's so important. And, then you can see what banks have to offer you. A lot of banks offer different incentives. They can lock a pre-approval for you up to 6 months. RBC does it. If you lose your job within the time, that pre-approval still stands. Like there's banks that can do a whole lot for you.
It also sets you up for success because you go out of the gate knowing exactly what you can afford. They give you that number. It's not a final approval, mind you, but it's pretty damn good. They take into account everything.
To be honest with you, as a buyer, that's the first thing I say to my buyers.
Yes.
I'm, to be honest with you, at the point in my career where I'm not taking you out unless you really are. Like, it makes no sense.
Well, what's the point? You're wasting your own time as the buyer, because whatever, as an agent, I don't mind going on showings, but I also want to work for you. So the best way I can work for you is if I actually know your situation. So
What if you fall in love with something, right? Like, I'm taking you out on showings, you fall in love with something, and then you find out that it's past your affordability.
like well past.
Yeah. I would never push my client to then try to extend or stretch more than they can afford.
Yeah, but why would you even do that yourself? It's not even. What if it's not even possible? Like, say you we're looking at $1 million properties, and then you get pre-approved for $600,000. It's not happening, and now you're heartbroken. You had an idea of what your first home was going to be, or even your second home, and now it's a very big change in reality.
Yeah.
So why would you do that to yourself? Just get pre-approved. It takes like a day, 2 days.
Yeah, like 2 business days. You gather up the information.
And they don't do a hard credit pull.
Nope.
So really, there's nothing to lose. And the documents you're going to provide to them in that pre-approval, they will need anyways, eventually when you do finally commit. So you're just setting yourself up for success.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do think it's very hard in our economy today to buy something at all. Like, I acknowledge that, and I feel like
very difficult.
very, very difficult. I still would say, make sure you have a good, as hard as it is, a good chunk saved. I would never suggest buying with just 5% down. It's just something I don't think is a good idea.
And to your point, there is added incentive to do that with the new mortgage rule changes.
I was just about to mention I am not the biggest fan of these new reforms.
Yeah.
I think it's forcing people to overextend more than they already have.
Right.
Opening up, just a gateway for people to be in over their heads like they have been in the past years, right?
Yeah. I think for people in certain situations, it may be beneficial.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, I think to your point, you should, to have a safe cushion, 20% down.
Minimum. Yeah. And I know that's just impossible with these prices and like the way jobs are, and I do get it, but
20% or as close to 20% as you can. It's just, I think I have a lot of conversations with this with friends, family, clients. It's getting into the market is the most challenging, but once you're in it, you're almost laughing. As long as you can afford to carry the property, you're laughing because now you're in the system. You're building equity. You can upgrade easier from there. It's still going to be hard, but that's why we say to clients, don't be, you're a first-time home buyer and you're like a single dude. Why are you looking for a 2-bed, 2-bath if you can barely afford it? Do the 1-bed, 1-bath.
Yeah.
1+10,
you
1
got to
bath.
work your way up.
Work your way up. Buy something smart,
Unless you're in a position where you can afford it comfortably,
Oh, that's a different story.
But
Yeah.
if you want to get into the market, which I think is probably the biggest thing for people today, start off small. No, I don't understand why people feel like it's, like I don't.
Well, your advice to buyers with when you get the pre-approval, we always say this, especially say you get pre-approved for 800,000. That doesn't mean you're that means you shouldn't necessarily be looking for stuff right at 800,000. Try and give yourself some more buffer room, 700, 750, because there are additional closing costs too that people don't understand, right? Maybe we should talk about closing costs.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so they're on commission side in terms of realtor. That's why we don't understand buyers that don't use an agent for their first time deal. You don't pay us. It's all on the seller end. So take advantage of the resource base that you'll get, especially as a first time home buyer. You need, it's good to have your hand held, especially with someone that you can trust.
Yes.
But so you don't have to worry about realtor fees. The biggest one is your land transfer tax, which you do get a credit on if you're a first time home buyer. It's not much, but it's usually about 4,000.
In this day and age, I'll take something.
Oh, for sure. It's usually about 4,000. It depends. So we would recommend first time home buyers, if you can, try and buy, north of Toronto. This way you don't have to pay it twice, but it is what it is.
It's up to you.
But those are the main two are your lawyer fee and land transfer. Land transfer by far is the highest. So you want to take that into account. Could be $10,000-$15,000 depending on the purchase price of the property. We actually have, if you go on our website, we have a calculator for that. We have a bunch of calculators which you can check out for free. But take that into account. You don't want to overextend yourself, especially on the first time.
I would purchase a property below my pre-approval and also take that into account.
Sure.
I just think that's the smart thing to do, especially if you're getting pre-approved for a great amount, like 800,000 is a great amount to be pre-approved for. Like you can find products today well under that if you're not looking for something extravagant.
Right. And we say this where we do understand that a lot of people are struggling right now and it's hard to even qualify for 600,000, 500,000, and then what can you buy for that? Not much in the GTA.
There are a lot of financing options that I feel like people are unaware about,
Right.
and ways to kind of go about it. So, always reach out if you feel like you want to get pre-approved, and, there's banks, like I said, that offer different things. So
We have access to many different mortgage professionals.
Yep.
We probably have a mortgage professional for every different situation.
Yep.
Shout out to Mete Mortgages, Joey. He's great.
Joey's great.
Yeah. Able to get us out of, able to get a client out of a tricky situation. We've had clients where they didn't think they could afford anything and they actually could.
Yep.
So that's fantastic, especially in this age. Every dollar counts.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Any other tips for first time home buyers?
I think the biggest really one besides what we spoke about is having an agent you can trust and who's going to guide you in the right direction, right? Because it's fun to look at homes online.
Sure.
It is great.
But you got to see them in person.
Yeah.
I get that all the time, especially for condos where there's an expectation of like the size. We're looking at online, especially with that wide angle fisheye lens, a 600 square foot condo that's 2 bed 2 bath might look big in the photos, but in person, it should be illegal to make a 2 bed 2 bath condo that's 600 square feet. Let's just put it that way. It should be illegal.
Yeah, it's like inhumane.
It's inhumane. There's just, it doesn't make sense. You almost have to sleep standing up in some of these bedrooms. Like, it's ridiculous. So you won't understand that. My point is you won't understand that unless you're actually physically inside the unit. And then your agent should have the wherewithal, if they're worth their weight in salt, to say, hey, listen, guys, so see how we're reviewing 600 square foot properties, see how tight it is. Maybe we need to adjust to 700-800 square foot range, which I think 800 square feet is the bare minimum for a 2 bed 2 bath.
I agree.
If you want something spacious, you need 900 to 1,000 minimum. But 800 is probably 800 depending on the layout. 800 square feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like 850, 860 square feet is probably the sweet spot in terms of price to size. But
I mean, to each their own, right? Like not.
We got to watch out for maintenance fees too, right? That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Like that's something also to take into account for maintenance fees for the condo. We would always advise getting a newer building if possible. In theory, the maintenance fees are lower. They're only ever going to go up no matter what building, but you want to start low and eventually build up to a higher maintenance fee. You don't want to start high and then it's just going to get more ridiculous from there.
Yep.
So costs go up.
Yep.
Anything else?
Call us.
Call us. Give us a call.
Call us if you want to know more.
Yeah, we always offer free home evaluations, even if you're if you're thinking about selling in the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, and we also sit down with our buyers and do buyer presentations. We kind of try to understand the situation. We talk about what product you're looking for, whereabouts, if it makes sense. We can kind of all lay it out there.
We'll go over the process. We have first time home buyer seminars,
Yeah.
even just one-on-one. So whatever your needs are, unique, and we're pretty much all over the GTA. Just give us a call and we can go from there. Mischelle, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Anytime, anything for you.
Anytime. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Be sure to like and subscribe, and goodbye, everybody.